Welcome to the Happy Rant podcast. I am Ted Cluck, joined as always in studio in the new year by my good friends and partners in radio, Barnabas Piper and Ronald J. Martin. And boys, we have all things new year to discuss here on today's program, including a new endeavor, a new business endeavor for the three of us. We are taking our live in Louisville show model on the road, and we are going to be live in Indy in spring 2019, boys. And I'm really excited. Details are coming together. Deals are being made behind the scenes, high-level deals. But here's what I want people to do, boys, and let me know if you think this is okay. I want people to just clear their calendars entirely for 2019 so that whatever date we choose and whatever venue we choose, people are ready to spring into action. To go to the one event that they will not want to miss in the year 2019. Are you guys okay with that?
It seems perfectly reasonable to me.
I agree.
Are you a true fan if you're not willing to do that?
Dude, that's right. So all like family events, graduate school, weddings, bar mitzvahs, anything of that nature, clear the calendar, block it off for the Happy Rant live in Louisville, except in Indy. And we will see you in 2019. I'm excited about it.
Can I make one amendment to that?
Yeah.
I would like to volunteer us to be the entertainment at a bar mitzvah. I think.
Dude, you know what?
I think we would kill at a bar mitzvah. I was
actually thinking about that the other day. Like we should totally, and this gets into resolutions. Maybe I'm jumping ahead of myself for topic material here, but I think one resolution that we should make as a program in 2019 is to totally whore ourselves out to any and every event like that. And like I would do weddings. I would host like wedding receptions. I would do bar mitzvahs. I think as a program we should just completely sell out in 2019 and see what kinds of interesting opportunities come our way, boys.
I'm down with it. I mean, most resolutions are about raising standards. This is just about it's kind of lowering our standards. We will do anything.
Absolutely. I want to watch more TV this year on my ditch television, my huge TV, and I want to whore myself out as a radio host. And those are my two resolutions. But while we're on the topic, boys, Big R, why do people either love or hate resolutions, but they seem impossible to avoid? What's going on there?
Dude, I don't know. I just know that social media it kind of all of a sudden starts blowing up, and you have all these all these variations of the people that are like old school resolutions. Yeah. You have the people that are the anti-resolutions, and then you have the repackaging, like don't make resolutions, make habits, or like whatever like the new thing is to basically make a resolution but call it something different. Yeah. And it's funny to me because I think it's unavoidable, a resolution. Like at the end of the day, like dude, I want something to be better by the end of this year. I don't know. I didn't make a list, right? But I can tell you there are certain things that I would like to be improved, whatever those are. So it's almost impossible to go into any new year without a resolution. What I find really funny is like the passion on each side, either for or against resolutions. The people sort of that you see get sort of exploding out there on social media. So I don't think it's funny.
Oh, baby, I hate that I'm missing that. I just feel like I'm missing so much quality.
There's a resolution for you, Ted. If you're looking to lower the quality of your life, then by all means, join social media.
By all means, do what me and Barnabas do 23 hours of the day.
I don't think I'm ready to make that step yet, boys, but I do appreciate the invitation. And if and when that happens, you guys will be the first to know.
You mean you don't want to tell everybody how angry you are about the resolutions that you're not making by that being a resolution in and of itself?
Dude, it's so complicated. No, I feel like I have a hard enough time like curating my own mental life without having to hang it out there for the whole world to see. So for now, I'm gonna just enjoy social media through you guys. I feel like you both do a splendid job of letting me know what I need to know and filtering out the rest. So
I feel validated by that. By the way, Big T, I feel like that was a resolution I had last year was to really provide you with a better social media, non-social media platform. I feel like I succeeded in that.
Baby, mission accomplished. You're doing a fabulous job.
And you have a proxy Twitter account too, because you've got Ted Cluck Quotes who shares your best bits of knowledge and wit and wisdom that you say on this podcast and shares it online. So it's the best version of Ted online, and Ted doesn't have to do anything for it except just show up and be himself.
Dude,
Baby,
that guy's
you're on
the best.
Twitter. You're on Twitter. I love the non-commitment, but yet like it's like you've just been dating Twitter all of this time.
Dude, I have, man. Me and Twitter we've been making out a little bit. You know, we're
that's
going
all
out,
you're
we're
doing
watching
is making out with Twitter. It's amazing.
We're watching some movies together. You know, we're
no commitment though.
We're going on some walks, but yeah, no commitment. No commitment with Twitter.
Twitter's been begging for a ring, been begging for a proposal, and you're like, nah, I just kind of like the way things are. I like the current sitch. Everything's
I'm stringing
lovely.
Twitter along right now.
Oh,
you
you
know,
totally
I'm stringing it
are.
along. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
well, Twitter's a fickle mistress, though. So being non-committal is probably saving yourself some heartbreak.
Dude, how about my guy Wayne though, who is the curator of Ted Cluck Quotes at Ted Cluck Quotes on Twitter? If you haven't checked it out, give that Twitter account a follow. Remember at the first Live in Louis, boys, when I met Fountains of Wayne for the first time? That was kind of a magical moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, well, and his picture is the picture he got. His avatar is the picture he got with you there. So I mean, it's a full commemoration of that magic moment.
Dude, that guy's the best, and we're gonna have more magic moments like that at Live in Indy. So if you haven't done so already, block off the rest of your calendar. Make that your resolution that you're gonna go to one event this year, and it's not Hamilton on Broadway. It's Live in Indy with us.
I promise you, our tickets will be both more available and more affordable than
They're
Hamilton.
going to be $4 cheaper per ticket than Hamilton. So
yeah,
there you go.
At least $4 or like 10% cheaper. I don't know. I mean, they're going to be they're going to be better.
We haven't run all the.
You know what, Barnabas? It reminds me of something, man. Like Ted already is calling it the wrong name, kind of like he did Together for the Rant. He already doesn't want to call it Indy Live like we just decided it was going to be called.
See, baby, I haven't had time to like really let that sink in yet. So, but I'll work on it. I'll practice. That'll be my show.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt by that because that was my proposal, and I feel like my resolutions now are starting to become crushed.
Let's focus on that in rehearsals. I'll run that off the air with you guys, and then it'll be like muscle memory to say it on the air.
Okay, so baby, what is the event now that we're doing?
Live. Indy Live. Yeah. Indy Live.
Like
See,
a true professional, you sponged up that knowledge, and it was just you were just ready. That was amazing.
Boys, I've been doing this a long time. Not my first radio program. So actually, the Reformatory was my first radio program, and Ron was a part of that one too. But boys, I digress.
Can I ask a quick question about the Reformatory?
No, of course. There's nothing we like in discussing more than the Reformatory.
This is not to mock you guys at all. I will openly do that. No, this is a question. This is mocking Christian radio.
Okay.
Because I worked at Moody Publishers, which is attached to Moody Radio, and as far as Christian radio goes, it's among the higher quality stuff out there. But did you have to do news reads or like? Did you have to do breaks for like traffic updates or like the full thing, or did you just get to like
nothing?
Just talk for an hour.
Ron, describe that experience, would you?
Yeah. It was so we did so the Reformatory. It was done on this particular Christian station that specialized in quite literally the opposite of what we were trying to do, which was something similar to what we do here on the Rant. And so we still to this day don't know why they gave us a show. But somehow, in the good graces of the Lord, they gave us a show. And they literally, I mean, Big T, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they ever tried to curate one syllable of anything we said or told us to say something differently than what we said it. They gave us complete and total control.
Dude, they did, which was wonderful, which, as an artist, I mean, that's what you're always looking for. But I think it went a step beyond that, Big R, in that I don't think they listened to our show either when it was airing or even when they were recording it.
Like they had never heard. They still to this day, the whole staff has never heard one of those.
They've never heard an episode of,
including the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I think we got that gig because the producer was like a fan of your music. And in fact, you'll appreciate this, Pipe, and maybe we've told this story on the air. The very first episode, the producer kind of like introduced both of us on the air. And he gave Ron like a 19-minute introduction. I mean, it was like an NFL Hall of Fame like induction ceremony type of introduction. And then he turns to me. Yeah, he turns to me and he goes, and this is Ronnie's friend Ted. Like I was just his buddy. Like he had just picked me up along the way. You know.
You were the Garth to his Wayne.
I was the Garth. I was like the Kato Kalin to his O.J. Simpson.
Baby, and 8 years later, that still bothers you.
Oh, dude, yeah, I can't talk about it enough. I really can't.
8 years later, you're still offended at being Ronnie Martin's friend.
Incredibly hurt.
Ronnie, I have another resolution for you for this year. At Indie Live, if you come out and do the bells and whistles gong show Ronnie intro like you have done previously, I want you to give me a 19-minute intro and then say, "And this is Barnabas's friend Ted."
Oh,
absolutely.
Piper, that's
Consider
brutal.
it done.
That's brutal.
Consider it done.
Well, boys,
goodness.
We've got all the time in the world to plan.
We've wandered to and fro.
We've wandered to and fro. Rachel the Hell Evans. Actually, I do have to keep this one short, but not this short though. We're not gonna put a 7-minute episode up for our near and dear fans.
Although
but
that would be really creative if we did that. That would really be epic if we.
Baby, would it be creative? Would it be a creative turn for us?
I feel like it would be.
Dude, like a micro app.
A micro app. Yeah. A micrep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's a word for it, I suppose.
Dude, our resolution for this year could be 7-minute episodes only. Micro.
Well, we could probably drop more. So instead of dropping one ep, we could just drop like 4 eps in a row.
Interesting. I don't know. These are good. If I was in my office, I would be writing this on glass right now.
See,
people are actually like hearing what our show prep sounds like, though. They're getting an insider's view now.
We pay per episode for our production, which means that we don't pay per minute. So we could do 4-hour episodes a week and pay the same amount as 4 7-minute episodes. But if we did like 9 7-minute episodes, we're paying for 9 episodes. So,
when have we ever cared about money?
As generous as our listeners have been through Patreon, they have not committed enough monthly support to cover that many episodes per week.
So we're paying for Resonate to bleep out half of a word in 9 episodes I gotta do the math on that one. But
Ted, I have a resolution for you this year.
Yeah.
Maybe don't hold grudges.
Ooh, good pipe.
just throwing that one out there. You hold on to some stuff, man.
That's iron sharpening iron right there, man. I appreciate that exhortation. See, this is real. This is Piper and I doing life together.
No, this is like a counseling. This is like a small group session.
This is authentic.
Dude, I can swipe my insurance card on the way out for this. This is good stuff, man.
Ken, how did that make you feel?
Challenged, a little taken aback, but he's given me a lot to chew on right now.
I think he spoke in love, though, Ted.
He spoke it in love. I'm going to keep digging. I'm just going to keep digging and let the healing begin. But we're getting there. We're getting close.
Piper, do you think you could have changed your tone a little bit, or where are we at?
I have been told more than a handful of times that I would benefit from changing my tone. So I'm going to go ahead and guess that, yes, I probably could have used a different tone to be heard more readily by my good friend Ted.
And Piper, guys, hearing a lot of humility.
A lot of healing. A lot of
healing and humility.
Pipe, do you consider yourself a grudge holder?
No, not in the slightest, but I think mostly because I have a bad memory.
Interesting.
There
you go.
It's not because, I am difficult to offend, but also I forget stuff that happened. To hold a grudge, the details of something have to be very much impressed upon your mind. And this is Ronnie's friend Ted, for example. That's a very crystal clear detail in your mind.
Big T has a photographic memory.
That's not the kind of thing you forget, boys.
I don't.
That cuts to the quick.
I would forget that, but that's not not because I'm a better man, because I have a worse memory.
Dude, it's funny.
It's not a character trait of mine.
I don't consider myself a grudge holder on meaningful things, but totally trivial, completely meaningless things and this is Ronnie's friend Ted. To me, that one got lodged in there because it became such a priceless story to tell. I'm like, this trip to Fort Wayne was worth it because now we have this, and lo, these many years later,
baby, I think I've heard you open up at least 3 talks with that story too, which is epic. Do you still use that?
Dude, it always kills though. I don't use it anymore.
Yeah.
But for a couple of years, it always killed.
Yeah. Especially when I was in the audience listening, if I was part of the audience.
Baby, I did that for you.
I know you did.
I always did that for you.
Prop me up.
That was really selfless of you, Ted.
It was. I feel affirmed.
Yeah.
I felt affirmed.
Well, boys, we got lots of New Year's affirmations to get to, but before we do that, I want to talk about another New Year's thing, which was our favorite Reformed point guard, JD Greear, and I call him a point guard because he looks like he played high school basketball. I'm almost certain he did. I'm almost certain he was a 2-year letterman, honorable mention all conference. At some little Midwestern high school. That's our good friend JD Greear.
Yeah, an absolute John Stockton, like jersey grabber, elbow thrower, that guy.
The kind of guy you hated if you were playing against him.
Yes.
Like you absolutely hated him. And you hated how like falsely sanctimonious he was too. Like if you fell down on the court, he would like extend his hand to help you up and you would swat it away. That's the kind of player JD Greear was. But apparently he's also the kind of player who breaks the internet by canceling New Year's services. And I know nothing about this because I'm not really on the internet to see it be broken. So, boys, talk me through this. Ron, you're a man of the cloth. You're basically a colleague of JD Greer's now on the high-end A-list main stage conference circuit. So, what happened with JD?
So JD, he's one of these dudes where a lot of big churches, or not even big churches, I guess churches of all sizes, they will cancel the final Sunday of the year. They just won't have church. A lot of it is you have big staff, you give your staff a break, you give your volunteers a kind of a break, and you sort of do a bit of a reset and a rejuvenation and say, hey, we'll see you in January.
Dude, they're pampering. This is your language.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you cancel at Sub? Did you cancel the New Year's?
We never cancel.
Okay.
Ronnie just doesn't show up when he's out
exactly.
speaking places.
We never cancel. I just leave most of
I
the
just
time.
leave. I just take a break.
So
that's all JD does. JD just announces it to remind his congregation, hey, just don't show up. And then he makes this comment about just stay home and worship with your family or something along those lines. And dude, he got, the amount. No, I'm sorry. And then Marky D, which for the uninformed is Mark Dever, comes on and asks this very, very confusing question in the way that he worded it, which was something along the lines of, hey, help me understand here, JD. Like, if somebody wants to worship with you, are you canceling all just the main campus or all the campuses? Like, if I want to go to Summit Church on Sunday, are you guys all shut down or just the main place? So he was just trying to ask something to kind of figure out, and he said he claimed it was like an honest question, but it was very vague and it sounded a little accusatory, if we're being honest,
because the way that JD announced it, he was like, we basically no services at any of our campuses this Sunday. Yes. Mark's response was something like, are there any non-campus locations where people who want to can meet to worship? So right. It was it felt very much like a jab.
Okay. It was a jab, but it was also the way he phrased it. He used kind of high language. So it was really hard to understand, and whatever, not all of us are super clear all the time. No big deal. And so, dude, the amount of postings that followed Dever's comment about how, how basically Greear is like a heretic, hates the church, doesn't love Jesus. How dare him cancel us?
There may have been the phrase "spawn of Satan" used at one point. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds possible.
No, I think you're onto something, Pipe.
Dude, the internet is awesome. What a great place.
Yeah, see what's going on in your life by dating it like that, Big T.
I know, man. I need to go steady with the internet so that I can get in on all this behind the scenes stuff. This is really good. So how did our very favorite Reformed point guard, how did he weather all this criticism? Did he just fly low and let it play over?
JD never responded as far as I saw, or did I miss that?
He responded to Dever, and he said,
that's right.
He was basically like, I don't totally understand your question, but you have my email. Feel free to shoot it over, basically publicly said, let's take this offline.
Yeah. But then in other words, why are you asking this question publicly, you douche?
Yeah. So, if there was it was very Stockton-y, if somebody throws an elbow, he's going to hit just a little lower with the return elbow. That's kind of what happened. And but the responses to Greear were it was as if he was like, okay, on Sunday, we're going to sacrifice baby seals and then
And
boil
drink their
them, and
blood.
then boil them
Yeah.
in their mother's milk while
It
we
was
drink
like
their
we're doing
blood
Christian
on stage.
witchcraft instead.
Yes.
Like stay home and do
Yeah.
Christian witchcraft.
I love it, dude.
I mean, dude, it was Pipe. I think you're right about the spawn. Somebody mentioned Satan somewhere in the responses, and it was literally like he said, "Just stay home, cast like spells, do Christian witchcraft, read, girl wash your face." Like who knows? Like what they
Stay home and wash your face.
Yeah, put on your witchcraft yoga pants from Bethel Church or whatever, and sing Bethel songs, read "Girl Wash Your Face," and watch a couple of Stephen Furtick sermons. I mean, that's what they were acting like he was saying. It was literally insane.
That's fantastic, dude. The internet is such a great, reasonable place. People are the best.
My favorite thing is how unwittingly pharisaical all of the non-legalists got real fast.
Oh yeah.
Their response to him sounded so much like the Pharisees about how Jesus broke the Sabbath. Like that's what it felt like to them. They're like, no, Sundays are like this, and any other way is burning, in the 9th level of hell. That was sort of, and it was bizarre in a mostly humorous, but also like, man, people are insane sort of way.
Well, Pipe, what about what's really funny to me too is like anytime, or I'm not saying this across the board, but it felt like anytime someone sounded like they were like agreeing with him and just saying, "Hey, leave the guy alone," I feel like they would always end with some kind of a snarky, "But I still think it's wrong."
Dude,
That's
you know
what it felt like.
You know what the saddest thing is to me? And this is very like fine pointy. Like just the act of imagining all those people sitting in their homes on New Year's Eve, like banging out those tweets, like hunched over a phone, like thinking about it,
Totally.
like putting their thumbs together and like making that tweet. For some reason, that to me is like the epicenter of sadness. Why is that? I don't know. It just it really gets to me.
Why is that because like when you think about the stretch between Christmas, the high point of Ronnie's year, and New Year's, which is like, sort of the celebration, ring in the new year time.
It's a big milestone.
All of that is, it's family, it's friends, it's eating, it's happiness, it's party. But I am going to hole up in a corner with my BlackBerry and tweet angry things at the Reform point guard. That's how I'm going to spend my New Year's celebration time. That it is sad. It's just like a dark, shriveled up, miserable little experience.
Dude, I have this scene of like in the background of this scene, like everybody's blowing on those party favors and like confetti's falling from the ceiling, and there's like music playing, and and then the sad, angry little man is hunched in the corner,
or like small children tugging on the tugging on his
Daddy,
belt.
come play catch with me.
Dad, come play, come watch the ball drop, Dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm solving all of the church's problems with this tweet.
I've got this pithy word of wisdom. I got to get out there. Yeah.
JD Greear will listen to me.
That's right.
All right, so let's get serious for one second. Having said that, I would be furious if anybody stayed home and worshiped alone if they were part of my church, right? I'd be furious about it. It's easy when you have a church of like 10,000 people and somebody just like skips out. When you have a church of like 50 people and half the people decide to worship home alone.
There's a logistical thing here too, where they have multiple campuses or multiple sites. I don't know exactly what their model is. They have different sites, but they did like a gargantuan Christmas service with everybody in one place. It was at like an arena, so all the campuses gathered together. That's a logistical, just exhausting experience. So to a week later, you'd sort of run programs as usual, when the new year is sort of a time for pausing and reflecting. Like there's an argument to be made for it. It's taking a break after your sort of peak worship event of the year, which was the Sunday before Christmas for them. So, I mean, yeah, if you have whatever, 15,000 people, 10,000 people all worshiping together with all of those logistics, the next week is going to feel like a hangover.
Yeah, and it's going to be, and I agree with that. You're giving like all of your volunteers a break. You're letting your staff off the hook. for a Sunday, which again, when you're part of a big church, it's a production, no matter how you slice it. And so I think that's a nice thing to do. But again, as the president of the SBC, I think, he probably needs to rethink how he communicates some of these things. I have no idea. Thankfully, I'm not SBC.
But, dude, there's a heater from Ron Martin.
But they've done this stuff for years. Like, just if he changes how he leads his church because he's the president of the SBC, I'd say that reflects badly on him as a pastor. Now, if you mean like communicating it, just in terms of the explanation or whatever, maybe. But at the same time, the people who don't care about him canceling services are not going to care if he gives a good explanation. The people who hate him for it are not going to care if he gives a good explanation. Like, nobody is being won over on this.
I agree. No, I agree, Pipe. But he said something that a lot of people think is a doctrinal issue, right? Which is take off a Sunday, right? So people are going to have like doctrinal issues with just the way he went about that. Again, I think he has the luxury of doing it too. I don't say that with any sort of like, I don't say that with any sort of, like spit. I think he does. I think it's fine. He has a massive organization there. But people, Mark Dever had a theological problem with him saying, "Hey, just take the day off," because he doesn't think that we take Sundays off. He like in his theology, that's not something that he thinks we're, we've been to do.
I think part of the reason I roll about this is because I roll about anything that smacks of Pharisaism. And I think even with a well-articulated theological argument about worshiping whatever, like, it's just not a big deal to do what JD did. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it does not matter. And his church is not worse for it. Nobody loses. And so the hubbub over it was just a colossal, like, my eyes rolled all the way back in my head about it. It was a classic dumb church argument.
Oh, I think the responses were out of control. I think as a president, he has to balance out the things he says that are going to have a greater influence on all the people that he's serving too.
But let me get a little meticulous with this argument. You said that it was the theological implication of take the Sunday off.
Worshiping with your family.
But like, if you're canceling services, what are you telling people to do otherwise?
Right.
He was giving, so you have two options, three options. You can say no services, period. Like, you just leave it at that. You can say no services, so spend time worshiping with your family. You can say no services, so go visit another church. Like, is one of those a better option or a distinctly worse option than the others? They all just sound like those are all the things that happen if you say, hey, we're not having services on Sunday.
Which just brings you back to the main point, which is why are you
right? If you're going to cancel services, you're going to take heat from people. How he said it, if people are going to parse that, I mean, that's the most reformed thing about this is people jumped on a phrase, that aspect instead of sort of the larger like, should we or should we not? And
no, but Pipe, listen, man, that whole worship with your family thing. I mean, we've had people that have said we just decided to stay home and worship with our family. And so we kind of refute that a little bit. I mean, not to be, hardcore and reformed, but just, there's not a lot of precedent for that. And we don't really believe it actually happens necessarily. What does that even mean to stay home and worship with your family anyway? And so, there's some people that would say, well, hold on, man, like that in and of itself, there's strange implications for even that statement in and of itself. But at the same time, there aren't,
because they canceled services. The alternative is like stay home and eat pancakes. It's just,
that's what he should say. There is precedent for that.
Honestly, that's what I would have done if I attended his church. I'd be like, oh, sleep in and then make a big breakfast. That sounds delightful. But
he was saying, here's a theological option for you. And again, guys like Dever and even me would say, not really an option. It's okay, cancel services, but to throw that out there as like this, like as if that's a thing, like that's a real thing, that's a viable thing. Some of us would say, nah, not so much, man.
Would you have been happier if he was like, no services this weekend, stay home and eat bacon?
Kinda, yeah.
Okay. No, that actually clarifies something.
But that was honest, right? Because that's all they're going to be doing is staying home and eating bacon. God bless them, man. Bacon's delicious.
Yeah,
but,
I love bacon.
But I think that would have been more truthful than the stay home and worship with your family statement.
All right, I hear you. I think it's an asinine thing to get hung up on
Piper,
in this context. But
I think it's a crazy thing to get angry about, for sure.
Well, yes, you're very clearly not angry, which I appreciate.
You know what I love about that segment, though? I feel like Ron was throwing some heaters. I feel like that was mid-career Roger Clemens right there, where like you're throwing 98 miles an hour. There might be a little chin music, you know.
This is I was Mike Piazza throwing the fragment of the bat at Roger Clemens, and he just came off the mound, picked it up, and chucked it back at me. Like it had some stank on it.
Dude, that's vintage like steroidal Roger Clemens heaters. Dude, right
can't we come up with a player that I've heard of, man? What happened to Kent Tekulve, man? Or
we could go to Kent Tekulve. Kent Tekulve didn't have a lot of heat, I don't think, though. Kent Tekulve, he was more of a placement guy.
Was he a submariner?
Yeah, I think he was a submarine. Yeah, he had that unique delivery. But at any rate, our man Ron was throwing some heat, which may be a harbinger of things to come in 2019 for Ron Martin. So if we could kind of zip through this last segment, boys, I want to talk about.
I think we bored Ted, Ron.
Yeah, I think we did. Well, that was a resolution that was successful.
I was super bored, but I was also enjoying Ron's hot takiness.
I think you were fascinated, Big T. Can I?
Baby, I was fast. I was hanging on every word. I was transfixed.
As Ronnie Martin's friend, I think you were fascinated.
Yeah. Speaking as your friend, it was fascinating. Boys, I want to talk some predictions for 2019. Okay, this is what we do in the media. We like to make predictions when a new year starts, and I want to dive into a few of these, and I want you guys to just throw some names out, and we'll go from there. So I want to start with an easy one for both of you. Who's your new reformed star for 2019? So as you look at the reformed landscape, the media industry, the star makers that we are, who's the next big reformed superstar for 2019?
Oh man,
present company excluded. I mean, it can't be anyone on this podcast.
Now, when we say star, like, is this like they get their own Gospel Coalition blog? Is this they're a main stage speaker somewhere?
Yeah, all that. I would say
those are all good metrics. Those are all metrics that I'll take.
I didn't know if there was like a key metric that we're measuring on.
I would say any of those metrics.
Okay. Man, it's tough to break into the old boys club.
It really is. But didn't our boy S-Wine kind of did it?
No.
No?
He's still kind of C-list.
Oh, interesting. You know?
Well, he did the thing where he wrote a book he did the critically acclaimed thing.
He did.
Yeah.
So it was critically acclaimed but not commercially successful.
Dude, JD did it at some point. Our point guard friend.
Yeah.
He made it in.
He did.
But even he doesn't get. It's weird. Like JD doesn't even get those plenary spots, though. You know,
he's not getting the plen. How do you get a plenary?
I mean, that's a boys.
Not
that's a
cancel services on New Year's.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Boy, I've stumped you guys right off the bat for
there's somebody. You know what? It's so weird, Pipe, because there's somebody I was thinking of that's just started to get some. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say at Alan Noble. I think he's one of the.
No way, dude. But I like it.
No, he's the critically acclaimed guy. Like he's never going to speak anywhere.
Well, I mean, he's just started though. He's just started a bit of a rise with that book. So all right.
My prediction, I'm going to go with a little bit off the beaten path, but I'm going to go with Scott Sauls.
I don't even know who that is. Explain, Pipe.
So Scott Sauls is a pastor at Christ Pres in Brentwood, or I guess it's southern Nashville, like right on the Brentwood-Nashville border. He was
just a poor, hard-scrabbled little community.
Yeah,
Brentwood.
It's tough.
I'm really pulling for him.
Yeah,
you know.
It is. I mean, it's hard to drive through there and watch how people live. It's
tough.
Just very hand to mouth, very hand to luxury steering wheel. It's a rough life there. But he comes from the Keller school of pastoring and church planting, so sort of very even-handed culturally. He'll address very controversial things, but in a very balanced way. Sort of a very articulate, compelling speaker, but not like the Matt Chandler bundle of energy speaker. Yeah. And he's, you know, if you're in Brentwood, you're 1 degree of separation from a lot of influential people. So I could see I could see Scott Sauls being that guy. I mean, he's written a number of books that have been like well received. Again, more on the critically acclaimed than the bestseller. But he's on my next big thing radar.
That's interesting, Pipe. I would not have put Sauls on that, but I get why you went there. What about Charlie Dates? He's kind of emerging.
Never heard of him.
Is Charlie Dates reformed enough, or does it not matter because they will invite him in regardless?
Well, I mean, I think he's been asked to do some reformed like plenary slots, right? So he's gotten some of those. And so he's a really good speaker, a lot of energy.
Yeah, he spoke at the MLK 50 conference, and I guess his message there was, it was the thing of the conference. I
heard some of it. It was like, ridiculous.
It went as viral as a sermon can go.
Totally.
So I think that's a good one because it's the kind of thing where if people hear him, they're just gonna glom onto him because he's
right.
He throws
like
heat.
You wouldn't be surprised if he like got asked to do a plenary at like TGC in April. And I think what struck me about that though is one of the guys that's emerged who was already kind of big but never got asked to do these things in the last year, I think has been HB Charles. Like he gets asked to do these plenaries.
Ooh, that's a good call. He might have risen in 2018, but yeah, he speaks everywhere.
He does. But like in this tribe, they finally pulled him in.
Yeah.
Dude, how do you guys know like who's getting these plenary sessions? Is there like an industry rag?
It's that thing you're dating. We know the person you're dating really well.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we've been friends with the person you're dating for a long time, which makes me a little nervous about your relationship just because, we know where this thing can go. But but also, good friends, been around a while. We know
I didn't know if there was like our version of Variety magazine that you guys got. That
kind of. I mean, in some ways, I think there is, especially when everybody starts like freaking out and liking everything that some particular rising star says, and tweeting back at them every time they like open their mouth, and that is kind of our version of Variety in some ways. And then at the same time, it's kind of like JD, where you got all the hate comments like below.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have that, man.
Yeah, I think the other option is Jackie Hill Perry, if she's not already sort of there in terms of
I think she's there, but that's a good one.
Well, she's a tough one because she was really sort of well known more as an artist, and then now is sort of the author speaker, and that just happened like the tail end of 2018. So like she's hitting 2019 with momentum, and yeah, she's gonna be Gospel Coalition Women's, ERLC.
She's everything.
Yeah, she's all of those things. And
there's nobody that doesn't want to book her right now, for sure.
So she may have already
a lot of juice in the industry, Big R.
Yeah,
I just booked her for Indie Live. Actually, she's going to be with us.
We get to sit this one out, Ted.
Who's her booking agent, Big R? Is she self-represented at this point, or?
Yeah, she's just going to speak.
Okay.
She's going to speak. She's going to say Rachel the Held Evans. I got her to say that, at the very end. It's going to be
Dude,
great.
We should have a plenary session at Indie Live and just book ourselves for it. It'll be our first plenary.
Dude, maybe we should do that.
I don't even know what plenary means. Is that like Latin for
I've never
something?
even heard. I have no idea what that word means. Do you know what
Is that like Latin for like the good orator? I don't know. I'm going to look it up.
Pipe knows what it means, and he's afraid to tell us right now.
I have no idea. I only know it by context.
Dude, don't look it up. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what that word means.
And here's the thing.
I like being
You know who uses the phrase plenary session? Only Christian conferences. Nobody else. Everybody else, it's like they do go by location. It's like side stage, main stage, or like main event and breakouts. But only Reformed, conservative evangelical people say plenary, which tells you a little bit about.
Why don't we ever say keynote? Seriously, we never.
I like keynote. I ride with keynote. That's a good word.
That's too personality driven, Ron.
It's too it's corporate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we have Jackie Hill Perry doing a keynote at Indie Live.
Great. I'm in. I'll go to that.
Cool.
All right, boys. Kind of along the same lines. Again, predictions for 2019. Who's our new heretic? Who's going to be our new person to hate in 2019?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I already have that one. I have.
Lay it on me.
I would say one Pastor Andrew Stanley.
Oh, Andy.
No,
Yeah,
he's an old standby heretic.
I think he's gonna fully jump the shark.
He's like the Eugene Peterson of heretics. You can kind of always count on him to be putting out good, hateable content.
Yeah. Right, but nobody has Rob Belled him yet. right? Nobody's farewelled him
No,
yet.
but I feel like
And
isn't that because he's always kind of been a clown in the same way? You know what I mean? Like his clownishness is predictable.
He just keeps 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and he's just
it's because he's
enough
conventional.
where you never know.
Like Rob got crazy. Andy has never been crazy. He's just conventionally sort of controversial.
Some point he's not going to be able to back up what he's saying, and he's going to own it fully. Instead of saying, no, I'm not saying that the Old Testament's irrelevant, as he's saying all that stuff that would lead you to believe he believes that. At some point, he's just going to flat out be honest about what he's saying and just go, yeah, I just believe that, and that's all there is to it. And then he's going to get, farewelled.
That's a good one. I like that one, Big R. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to go way off the beaten path, and I'm going to offend somebody here, but that's okay. Oh. So it's I wouldn't think of it as classic heresy, but I'm going to go with Johnny Mac.
Dude,
because
I could see his star as like
with the just the amount of sort of cultural conflict that's going on, and progressive Christianity and charismatic Christianity, and just all of the different things that and he gets so angry about things. He is going to say
the worst thing that ever happened to Johnny Mac was my girlfriend's social media. I mean, he's a guy who really needed to grow old in a pre-social media environment, don't you think?
Yeah, your lady has not been kind to him.
Yeah,
as of late,
It's not her fault though. She got manipulated by people who work for him in ways that are not super helpful. So I don't blame social media. I blame the pyromaniacs.
Oh, by the way, I'm not using the word social media from this point forward. I'm just saying Ted's lady.
Oh, I love it. No, I refer to my wife as my lady, though, so I don't want there to be any confusion here.
Your side piece.
No confusion here. I'm just going to say
Ted's side piece.
Oh, pipe. That's.
Are you just going to get crushed for that?
I'm going to get destroyed for that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, we won't use that one. But I think Johnny Mac is going to say something in the political realm, something in the nationalistic realm, something aggressive about another respected pastor. So not heresy in the sense of like, I don't believe the Bible, because that's counter to who he is. He's Mr. Bible, but like sort of cultural heresy.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he's already done that though, Pipe. I mean,
sure. But I mean but the kind of thing that you're like, wait, you went after who? Like, he's going to shoot one of the Reformed Church's sacred cows. That's what he's going to do. Like, he's taking down J.D. Greear. He's taking down Matt Chandler. He's going after David Platt. He's going to, I don't know, something.
Pipe, can we just be honest here, man? Is he going to go after Johnny P? Is he going to go after your pops?
He already, I don't know that he's ever gone after him, but, like, my dad doesn't get invited to speak at his conferences anymore because...
Piper, he's like the John Starks of Reformed speakers. If this were the NBA, in keeping with our, like, John Stockton analogy, he's just going after everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, and for a while he had the Charles Oakleys to defend him, and now he doesn't, and so he
got traded. He's on his own team now. Yeah, it's bad.
Pipe, why do you think he doesn't invite Johnny P?
I think my dad has said some things that are
a little too edgy for him.
Sort of, culturally and theologically. I mean, just probably way too social justice-y, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
I think my dad's a cultural Marxist, whatever that means. I mean, he's been accused of that, so that doesn't play well in the MacArthurian world.
Gosh, MacArthur must just think. I mean, I'd love to hear him riff on Timmy K.
Oh, dude.
Well, that's the kind of sacred cow I was referring to in terms of things that he might say publicly that will.
Piper, that's a strong choice. I have two other quick categories. What's going to be the new hipster food? So the new gross, inedible thing that hipsters are going to champion.
We've been through quinoa. I mean, before that, there was like just various superfoods, and there's been like the Whole30 and keto and these various diets.
Yeah, new hipster food for 2019.
I think it's going to go full circle. I think it's going to go back to, I think it's going to be like salt, fat, acid, heat. Like, let's go back to the things that are delicious, because guess what? We realized they don't really kill you any faster than like the other stuff that's disgusting kills you.
I think you're kind of right, but it's going to be hipstered up. So it's going to be like bacon in coconut oil.
Right.
Or like, you know what I mean? It's
totally.
There's going to be like sautéed kale crispy bacon strips kind of thing. Like I could absolutely see that. So sort of trying to healthify the things that have been rejected. I'm trying to think what else though.
Because there's got to be a good measure of like self-hatred in it still. Yeah. Because you can't go like full enjoyment and be a hipster. Interesting.
And the problem with this is that the food that become like the hipster foods are ones that I've never heard of. Like I didn't even know they were foods. And so yeah, I mean it's very.
They just start eating random things and call it food.
Yeah, I feel like hipsters just like go eat plants in their yard and they're like, oh, this one tastes moderately like mulch. Let's do that one. And it's just, they just sort of graze.
Yeah, it's going to be a new thing that we haven't even heard of. All right, last category, Pipe. And Ron, you can weigh in on this too, but it kind of involves you. Piper, I want you to set a conference circuit Mendoza line for Ron. So what's kind of the mid-tier conference? And then I want you to talk about whether he gets booked above or below that Mendoza line.
Wow.
So really the question is,
it's really vulnerable for me, Big T.
How high is Ron shooting for 2019 as far as conference bookings?
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I think the Mendoza line is so when we say Mendoza line, we mean like if he's below that, he's just an abject failure. Is that what we mean by Mendoza line?
Or I think if he's below the Mendoza line, he's disappointed. I mean, he's not saying he's disappointed because he never would, but like he's disappointed.
That's a good one. I would say like the normal pastors conference or whatever that Jared C. Wilson started. That I think would be Mendoza line. I think the aspiration.
Because it's kind of like faux humble, like we're just regular guys having a conference,
It's comprised of pastors who have bigger followings online than they do churches. Sure. Or in Jared's case, they're not a pastor of a church, but they used to be. So it's sort of like the non-mega church thing. So yeah, I mean, whether that's an admission of failure or calling it humility, or I don't know what I'm sure there's some self-loathing in that room as well.
For sure, there's got to be that, that makes it great.
I think that's sort of Mendoza line-ish because if Ronnie wants to present his pastoral ministry as anything, it is like normal. And that's not tongue-in-cheek. It is just like, this is what it looks like to normally do pastoral ministry. Just like do the pastor thing as well as I can. So I think that's...
Does Ronnie get booked higher or lower than the normal pastors conference?
Well, wow. I think the aspirational conference would be like for the church.
Okay.
So you're talking conference for pastors. It's Midwestern, so it's kind of center cut. It's a 1,000 people-ish. Good turnout. Not, it's not like the big Reformed conference, but it's a really strong sort of regional conference because it's in Kansas City, which like nothing's in the middle of the country. So I think that would be sort of the aspirational level of Ronnie conference speaking.
Still on the air here, guys.
I like that. Big R, you've listened to us long enough. What's your take on this? Like, if the Mendoza line is
that, I can't answer that. How on earth can I answer any of this?
No, I want you to look ahead, look into the crystal ball of 2019, and thinking about where your career is at right now. Like, where are we getting booked?
I don't, man. I don't have any idea. I'm happy. I'm happy to consider, any and all options if they work.
Man, this is the you're like Greg Popovich getting interviewed going into halftime, where you're just.
Oh, dude, I feel like Michelle Tafoya right now.
Yeah, congratulations, Doris Burke Ted. Like you just got popped. You just got Popovich.
This is a great moment for me. I love being Doris Burke. And Popovich didn't even like slow down on his way to the locker room in that interview segment.
Listen, Ronnie Martin's friend. What I'm going to tell you is that, I don't know. How can I say this and like keep any sense of integrity by saying what I would prefer?
Baby, I think that ship has kind of sailed. All due respect, but
I don't even know what that means, to be honest. So okay.
I mean, baby, here's what it means. It means we can dream big about these things. Doggone it. It's a new year. It's a time for new beginnings. We can dream about our conference bookings.
You know what, man? You know, they're going to book Charlie Dates and HB Charles at TGC, not Ronnie Martin. So I'm okay with that. You know?
Well, there you have it, Pipe.
What can I say?
Piper, where do you think Ron gets booked in 2019?
Where do I think Ronnie gets booked? Well, I have insider information that he may have already received a Normal Pastors Conference invitation.
Whoa.
Which
oh, this is big.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but that's the rumor I have heard.
Wow.
Ronnie may not be open in whatever sense of integrity he's trying to maintain over there, willing to address that.
Dude, he's totally going. I mean, he's already booked his plane ticket. He's going.
That was a pretty self-satisfied chuckle I just heard coming.
He's already checked out like hipster dining options in Kansas City. He's going.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, he does a ton of denominational stuff, but that feels a little bit like that's like trade.
That doesn't even feel exciting anymore. That was
like
exciting.
Publishing trade shows for me. Like that's not glamorous. That's just part of the job, you know.
Dude, year one that was a little bit of a buzz, but that's worn off. Yeah.
So it has to break outside the circle. I'm trying to think what else could there be?
Dude, Normal Pastors, that's pretty big. That's like we're calling that Mendoza, but I think that feels a little bit above Mendoza.
See, I have something that Ronnie should aspire to.
Lay it on us.
That is, so there's a conference called the Canvas Conference in Portland. Well, it was in Portland. They moved to Southern California just because nobody can get to Portland. And it's run by the guys at Humble Beast, the record label there. And it's all about like theology and the arts. So creativity, theology, vocation, and it's a really like aesthetically well done conference, sort of understated, not like lights and smoke show kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That should be Ronnie's aspiration, especially with his background in sort of like non-center cut music. So sort of the like the offbeat electronic music stuff. That whole ethos sort of fits there. But they're also the kind of people he would like. And yes, I'm Ronnie. I'm talking about you like you're not here.
Still here, guys.
Yep. Who he would like just as people, as artists, as how they do things. So that is my challenge to Ronnie, is to aspire to that. It's usually like late summer, early fall. So you got some time yet. They haven't started inviting people or planning things.
I mean, how do you aspire to something, Pipe? I mean, just sit here and say,
I was going to say, like, we need to make some overtures.
Well, no, you aspire, and then you find the connections you had to be like, hey, I mean, if
dude, that's so people, not me.
If you need somebody, hey,
yeah, I love what you guys are doing.
I love what you guys are doing. That's the entree. Like that's the code word.
That's so anti Ronnie Martin.
I have absolutely used that one to be part of an event that I thought was really cool. Like twice. I've done it twice.
There you go.
To try to, and looking for like a breakout kind of thing. Be like, I love what you guys are doing. If there's any way I can be involved, I would love to. And it's like that's a straight up request. That's not like a sidling up kind of, you know, trying to slip anything past them. It's just like, hey, I would love to be part of this if there's.
You're not trying to be vague, Pipe. I get it.
Nope, no vague.
Hey, boys,
there's your aspiration, Ron.
Thanks,
something
Bob.
interesting just happened in my studio in that I got a notification that said my microphone had stopped working, and it just automatically saved my voice file. So I think that's God telling me to wrap this episode. So what I'm saying right now may not even be on the recording that ends up on the air. But
I think you'll still have the Skype recording, so we'll have you all the way to the end. Yep.
There you go. Well, that's up to the good people at Resonate. But boys, this has been.
Should we have them bleep you out?
Yeah, they should bleep. They'll bleep half. You know, we can ask them to bleep me out.
No grudges, no grudges, Ted.
Half to 2/3 they'll bleep. That'll suffice. That'll be good.
Dude, I love the Anglicans.
Oh, me too. Me too. They're the best. They're the best. Boys, you are the best. We have the best show. And that's my prediction for 2019 is that the show will continue to rise in prominence, and it will continue its reign as the best podcast in the entire world of podcasting. So I'm proud to be a part of it, proud to host a program with you boys that we can wander to and fro throughout. And until next time, Rachel the Held Evans.
The Happy Rant is brought to you by Resonate Recordings. If you go to resonaterecordings.com, you can see the full range of services they offer. So if you're considering starting a podcast, they are the ones we recommend going with. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see their prices, to connect with them and ask any questions, and to see what they can do to help you launch, edit, master, and improve your podcast. Again, go to resonaterecordings.com to see what they can do to help you launch and improve your podcast.